Hello everyone. So let me tell you what I want to do. I desire, I yearn to fill my life giving, singing, sharing, teaching, loving. And one of the beautiful forms, vehicles of expression of this amazing wealth that I carry inside has been birthed through the expression of the Experiential Astrology class. The form and the flow of this class is still ever slightly evolving and unfolding. But the essence of this is so beautiful. And I'm making this video because I want you to know that I'm available and ready and excited to travel to your community and to teach this, to hold this space. So far in the past month or so, I've traveled, I've been in Canada, Olympia, Portland, Eugene, Ashland, and I've taught maybe 8 or 9 classes so far. Not just 1 hour classes, but longer, 4-hour, 5-hour classes. And these classes are energizing. They're the first kind of class structure where I feel deeply replenished and energized. So what is this class all about? What's actually going on here? I'll start off by saying this. One of the deeper wounds and traumas within patriarchy in relationship to learning and any kind of field of knowledge is that in so many ways it's been taken away from the heart, from the body, from the human connection, put entirely in the mind. In reality itself, there's no such thing as data or information that exists in a vacuum. In fact, data and information is always about something real. There's no such thing as actual data. It's just pointing to and categorizing, giving context to what is real. Now, astrology is such a beautiful art and science. And to me, the best use of astrology and any modality is the way that it can be used to provide betterment and support and healing and love, to bring benefit into other people's lives. So for many years I was teaching astrology, and I would look at dead people's charts, celebrities, well-known people that you can research. So you can research about their life and read their chart, and you can correlate the chart to their life. It's a very easy, tangible, and kind of traditional way of learning astrology. But at some point I began to feel profoundly exhausted. And I realized that it just didn't feel genuine to me. It felt exhausting and inauthentic. Talking about someone, talking about. This feeling that life is often so far removed, that my life and my role as a teacher and other aspects of my life too has often been just removed, separated, where I'm talking about things. I'm pointing to, I'm referencing. And what I've been craving and what the essence of my journey has been about for the past couple years has been intimacy, direct connection, vulnerability, sharing, community. My own growth, my own journey is through the crevices of human connection. And the meaning of that is ever unfolding for me. As a teacher, what I've realized, the way that I wish to teach, the way that feels most authentic and genuine for me to hold this space for others, to teach astrology, is not in a way where I'm just sharing knowledge, but in a way that actually allows for the benefit of astrology to be fully enacted in the moment. To fully share astrology in a way that brings benefit and support and listening and connection between us. So the way I hold these classes, all those who come to this class with the intention not just to learn, but to love and to be present. And throughout the class, participants from the class will offer themselves. We won't just look at their chart. In fact, we look at them. Each person that volunteers themselves speaks about their life, speaks about what's present for them now, what's real. What are their questions? What is their current edge in evolutionary growth? Where are they seeking insight? Where would they like more support? And I relax into it. I don't have to have any answers. We all just relax and listen and feel. And there's a joy in just having that spaciousness to actually just listen to a person, to really want to hear them We can ask questions. Will you explain more about that, or talk to me more about this? And intuitively, as I'm guided, I take everything that's shared and I bring it back to the natal chart, and I tune into the natal chart to provide direct benefit for the individual that's sharing. And as I do that, I take these teachings and I nurture and bring them out, and I share them all with a group. So everything that I speak to becomes an opportunity to elaborate and really directly connect with the astrological symbols in the chart. If we're speaking about sexual shame and social judgments, and the individual might be talking about that, I might see Mars in Capricorn positioned somewhere in the chart, and I might bring out that Mars in Capricorn and speak about what that reflects in general, and really just bring out the archetype and then bring it to that individual in a very personal, intimate, relevant way. All of our lives is a story. We like movies and books because they kind of point to and subtly remind us or hint at the profoundly interesting fact that this is actually a really fascinating mystery novel. Like, this life is a profound story, beautiful story. When we have the opportunity to be seen and to really kind of access our own story, our own journey, because what the natal chart reflects is the story of the soul. It points to what has been happening on this soul journey, not just in this lifetime, but what has led to this lifetime. What is the reason for this life? The premise, the basic notion here, is we're all evolving. We're all here on this journey of growth and awakening. And it's a beautiful journey, and it's profoundly interesting. And I find the study of astrology and my lineage and my training with evolutionary astrology, taught by my teacher, Jeffrey Wolf Green, is such a beautifully revealing and fascinating window into the essence of who we are. So these classes are about 4 or 5 hours. Playing with the time structure. We'll take a little break, usually in the middle. And sometimes we'll spend usually around 1 hour, sometimes up to 2 hours on one person. The amount of time we spend on someone is really about what's present, what's real, what's juicy. And we will be there as long as we are simultaneously having an enriching, direct, intimate learning experience, simultaneous to really providing benefit for another person. One reason why these classes are so great is it also allows people who otherwise maybe cannot afford to get a full session done to receive profound, direct, intimate, personal attention. In some ways, information and sharing is access that otherwise wouldn't happen in a session, because there's a group of people, not just me. There's something that happens in the collective field when we all come together with the purposes of healing and support for one another. So it's a very accessible way to not just learn astrology, but to actually receive personal direction in your own life in a way that might otherwise be a little more expensive. So these classes, since they're a group, they're more affordable. And it's something that brings people together. I often find that it's kind of like a meditation space, because we're not just learning and talking, we're also inquiring on the inside. We're also really looking at ourselves and deeply internalize the teachings. The way that I teach is I hold space for each individual to really access and connect with the teachings within themselves. And so I offer this invitation in gratitude, in joy, in confidence and certainty that I'm available to continue this teaching route. And I have a couple other classes. I'm beginning to work on a retreat for next summer. More on that later. Many of you know I'm going to Costa Rica this spring with Kaipacha and the New Paradigm Astrology community to do some teaching and to share music. So there's a momentum building, and I'm so excited to be finding a way of teaching that's authentic. I bring song into these classes. I often open and close with a song, and these songs are prayers, and they're ways of really grounding and connecting more deeply. When I travel to your community, depending on how far it is and what the structure is, usually I'll make this a 2-day event, 2 longer days, usually on a weekend, where we come back to our own home, but we all unite in this one space, maybe for 4 or 5 hours each day. And I also offer concerts, and these are devotional love music concerts. And I think that the music and the astrology is this really awesome combination, really beautiful synthesis of heart and embodiment and song and voice and devotion, and then this beautiful Jnana Yoga path of astrology. So I end the video here, and I've gotten amazing feedback about these classes. People have told me that it's life-changing. People have spoken to me about my sessions, about my work as being life-changing, and I'm grateful for the business that I receive and the opportunity to be in service, and it's pretty much all word of mouth. And what I'm really wanting to create and nurture is this momentum where these classes kind of take on their own momentum, and I'll have the opportunity to really travel and teach and share this with many more souls. So I've gotten that feedback. I've also gotten the feedback that people who have been studying astrology for many, many years, and I hear this very often, that in a class with me, in one class, the teachings in the space really allow them to integrate pieces that they have never been able to get. One thing that's really unique about these classes, and I didn't anticipate this until I began doing this, is the way that it's held. It actually works for people of all levels of astrological knowledge. So people that don't even know what houses are in astrology, I simply create this foundation where I explain what houses are. And as I go through a chart with someone, as we look at Mars is in Capricorn in the second house, I just really come back to the teaching. I say, houses are the areas of life experience. They are where things happen. I review the second house archetype. It's pleasurable. It kind of, for me, it feels like the joy that a parent has in feeding a child. There's not a feeling of, oh, this is so rudimentary. I want to take care of someone that knows how to feed themselves. What I'm finding in myself is that it's really not about meeting people at different levels of astrological knowledge and only being able to serve certain people, but actually just being fully present for where each person's at, making it a fully enriching experience, such that, and this is the cool part, even those that are very familiar and expert in their astrological practice, they come to my class, they feel like they gain so much insight, so much clarification relative to even the most basic things like houses. My friend and my first teacher, Adam Gainsbourg, once told me, many, many years ago when I first began working with him, he said, the greatest truths are the ones most simply stated. And what I'm finding in my teaching work is bringing out these truths and the teachings about astrology, but making them so simple that they go infinitely deep, that they're accessible on all kinds of levels. And I find that I learn a lot. I learn by teaching. I learn through this opportunity to share. It's a prayer for me. It's an honor for me. Okay. So I look forward to this opportunity to continue sharing this work, and please be in touch. Much love.